Hi, this is Reiner from everydaysystems.com. Today I'm going to talk about a system called Lawful Good Biker. It's a subsystem of Urban Ranger. To speak like a computer programmer for a minute, the inheritance hierarchy is Lawful Good Biker implements Bike Ranger implements Urban Ranger. I have to warn you, this system may seem a little more shocking and outlandish at first than most of my others, but please hear me out. It really does make a lot of sense, I think, if you consider it carefully. Here's the system. When you do your purposeful locomotive biking, obey all traffic rules, including traffic lights. I know that was probably worse than you were expecting, but please let me explain. Most bikers, I realize, are chaotic good, or at least chaotic something. Biking is good for your health and good for the environment, and bikers tend to be very cognizant of these facts, maybe a little too cognizant. So they're good, at least they like to think of themselves as good. But they are, at least here in the US, free spirits who do not like to be constrained by the laws of mortal men. This latter bit occasionally leads to horrific traffic accidents and more frequently ill will towards bikers and biking. Even, alas, the charge of hypocrisy. How can you preach to SUV drivers about their wicked ways when you can't even be bothered to respect a stop sign? The solution? Change your biker alignment to lawful good. Be flamboyantly, comically observant of traffic rules. You'll get some funny looks from fellow bikers as they zip past you at stoplights, but far fewer shouts of hatred, obscene gestures, and 100-kilojoule impacts. I know, it's tremendously counterintuitive standing there waiting for the light to turn green. I understand. I'm from Manhattan, the jaywalking capital of the world. You feel like a sucker or a tourist, and in any case, time's a wasting. The way I reconcile myself to this inefficiency is by having my voice recorder on hand to babble into at the stoplights. And doing this actually remedies one of the great deficiencies of Bike Ranger compared to regular vanilla foot Urban Ranger, that I can't practice autodidact while doing it. If you're not a practitioner of autodidact, just take the opportunity to reflect on the physical traffic light as a symbol of the habit traffic light. If you can't respect an actual traffic light, how are you ever going to get anywhere with the habit cal, right? And if you have no idea what autodidact is, the very short version is that it's keeping an audio journal. There's more to it, so if this sounds at all intriguing, listen to the two autodidact podcast segments I did a while ago. You can find links to them on the Everyday Systems podcast homepage, everydaysystems.com/podcast. When you're lawful good, you can be self-righteous about biking without the slightest pang of conscience. Or even better, perhaps your comically strict observance of the law and traffic light meditations will develop your sense of humor to the point where you can lighten up about the whole issue and realize that the best way to make converts to the way of the bike is not to bludgeon them over the head with your superiority. Credits. I got the basic idea of obeying traffic rules from a friend and former coworker who would probably rather not be identified here, but he knows who he is. He's also the only person I know who owns a medieval polearm and a custom-made suit of chainmail armor. So the Dungeons and Dragons angle is in part a sort of tribute to him. I also read something remarkably similar in a recent edition of The New Yorker. I'll look it up and put a link on the transcript. The name is, of course, inspired by the seminal 1977 work of E. Gary Gygax. Disclaimer. I'm not yet, alas, a lawful good walker, and may never be. In this regard, my New York City nurture far outweighs my Teutonic nature. Once when my dad and I were in Germany when I was a kid, jaywalking as usual, someone shouted out, "Child murderers!" An incident which, despite having 2 children now myself, I'm still unable not to find amusing. Oh well, the hobgoblin of little minds and all that. Thanks for listening.